patch of beard. My dad cut it off, but the moment he turned around, the beard grew back again. So they took me to the hospital. The doctor said everything was normal. To pick up the ball under the car, I lifted the entire car directly. My dad was extremely confused. When I played soccer, I did not want to be the goalkeeper, so I used my superpower again. When I raised my hand to celebrate, my classmates called me a bully instead. During an exam, I wanted to copy someone else's paper, so I used X-ray vision, but I used too much power. My dad told me to stay low-key. I had no choice but to obey. Then I closed the door. Soon my birthday arrived, but nobody came. My parents told me only if I hid my abilities and acted like a normal person. Would anyone want to play with me? I agreed with my parents, but when I blew out the candles. As time passed, I became an office worker. One day I was on my way to work. A subway train came. Its brakes failed and it could not stop. I jumped onto the tracks and started chasing the train at full speed. People were terrified. I ran like crazy. Before the train arrived, I had already reached the next station and stood in front of the train with my hands stretched out. The train crashed into me, but I stood my ground. The driver was shocked, but I held on. Then I jumped up and continued running. I ran to the next station, where I pulled out a water pipe and stretched it across the two platforms to slow the train down. Everyone was stunned. I stood in front of the train again, with my hands stretched out. The train arrived and stopped smoothly. I gave a thumbs up, but suddenly the train rolled backward a little. I felt something was wrong, so I grabbed my hat, disguised myself and quietly slipped away. But everything was captured on camera. When I arrived at work, I saw myself on television. To help me control my superpowers better, my parents told me to jump from the top of the wall and try flying. At first, I flapped my arms desperately like a bird, but nothing happened, and I fell straight to the ground. Later, they told me to fly like Superman. I stretched my arms forward, gathered my courage and jumped again, but I still failed. At that moment, I felt extremely frustrated. I stepped back a few steps, unwilling to give up. I jumped once more, but still crashed hard onto the ground. As I walked away with my head lowered, I ran into a group of kids. They laughed at me and made all kinds of gestures at me, but I did not get angry. I simply raised my hand calmly and made the rock and roll sign. The next second, those kids suddenly looked terrified, and I felt my body slowly rising off the ground.